Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to this virtual luncheon. I wish we were having it in person, and hopefully that isn't too far in the distance. I'm Kathleen Blee. I'm the Dean of the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences and the College of General Studies, and I welcome you to a session to hear a little bit about the school and particularly about scholarships and fellowships and how they support our students. So first, a little background. Our students are now home. They've successfully completed the fall semester, which was a mix of in-person and remote learning. All students had the option to participate remotely if they wanted to. Some students took many of their courses remotely. Some students took some of their courses in person. So all in all, it was a very successful semester. The students were quite conscientious in following health guidelines and keeping safe. And the faculty were tremendous in producing courses that engaged students, that kept them interested, that allowed them to have the same level of excellent education that's really a hallmark of the University of Pittsburgh. We're just getting the student evaluations of courses in right now, and it's a heartwarming read to hear about all the ways in which our faculty went the extra mile to make sure that nobody got lost, that students didn't become disengaged, that students who had problems with technology or finding a place to work that would allow them to concentrate could do so. It's a remarkable story of the Pitt community. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about students and particularly about scholarships and fellowships. The Dietrich School and the College of General Studies have many offerings, and across all of our many departments, 30 departments and programs, we have made it a priority to make higher education accessible to students from every background. And that's continued to be true as declining support from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania have forced increases in tuition. Nonetheless, it's a value of mine, a value of our school and of the university to provide an accessible and affordable education to all students. And scholarships are a major way in which we do that. They provide critical funding for our students at the time that they enter. They allow us to recruit students from every financial background, but they also allow students to fully embrace the complete Pitt experience. So the Pitt experience is not only attending the university and taking classes, but increasingly the brand of our school and the kind of students we attract means that students take all kinds of extracurricular opportunities. So they do research with faculty members outside of class, they do study abroad, they travel to do research projects before the pandemic and after the pandemic in every part of the globe. So we are always interested in increasing our scholarships, not only to allow more students to attend the University of Pittsburgh who come from financially challenged families, but also to allow all students who are at Pitt to take advantage of the incredible education that we offer both inside the classroom and beyond the classroom. Scholarships are how we support undergraduate students. Graduate students we support through teaching assistantships and research assistantships, but also through fellowships that are supported by voluntary donations. So what fellowships do is allow our graduate students to take time to focus completely on their research. So many of them teach for a couple of years or support classes taught by faculty for a couple of years. Many of them work in research laboratories with faculty, but it's very important that our graduate students are doing research at the cutting edge of knowledge. And a graduate fellowship allows them to take a year or more to fully focus on their own research. That allows them to finish their studies quicker. It allows them to do more ambitious research, and it also allows them to do research outside of Pittsburgh, many times outside of the United States. So it allows students to participate in research laboratories and collaborations all over the world. It allows students to work in archives or to study in universities and locations in every continent. Fellowships have also been key to attracting the best and brightest students from across the nation. And we are competing with the very best universities in this country for both our undergraduate and graduate students. And being able to offer scholarships and fellowships to those students is key to bringing them here and keeping Pitt where it is, among the top universities, both in education and research, actually in the world now. So supporting undergraduates and graduate students is not only great for the individual students, but it has a tremendous impact on the Pitt experience. I want to just thank all of you for attending today's session to learn more about that. So let me now introduce Doug Browning, who's a very special friend of the Dietrich School. Doug is an alumni of the Dietrich School. He's a longtime member of the Dietrich School Board of Visitors, and he's a current trustee of the university. And Doug wants to share a few thoughts about his support for scholarships. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Dean Blee. Let me first of all thank you for inviting me to participate in this virtual event. I apologize, like Dean Blee, I wish we were able to do this in person. I've had the privilege of hosting a luncheon among potential donors and supporters of the Dietrich School, and the dialogues that we've had at these luncheons have always been, for me, very beneficial and insightful, and it's always good just to reconnect. I've been involved with, and actually let me back up a bit, because there's a bit of history here that may be helpful. I graduated from arts and sciences in 1973, and for a very long period of time was really disconnected from my alma mater in the University of Pittsburgh. I had the opportunity, I was invited to join the alumni board of directors and had an opportunity to serve on the alumni board of directors. I was invited by the African American Alumni Council to chair our major donors campaign for Building Our Futures Together, in which we were able to raise $10 million. And from there went on to be part of the board of visitors for Dietrich and for the Board of Trustees. So in some respects, it's actually engagement in this process that got me re-engaged with Pitt. I'm gonna say that one of the things they say is, what's it feel like to be a donor? For about 15 or 16 years, I've been supporting Pitt with both talent and treasure. And it's been a real privilege to be able to do that. But more importantly, as a poor kid from the South Side of Chicago, the things I've been able to accomplish in my professional life, I retired from my law firm about 2 years ago, would not have been possible without the benefit of the University of Pittsburgh education that I received and the support that I received from the University of Pittsburgh to basically attain that education. I am from Chicago originally, as I said, and so I'm a bit of a Cubs fan, and I am reminded what Sammy Sosa said when someone asked him about baseball. Sammy said, baseball's been very, very good to me. The University of Pittsburgh has been very, very good to me. And that's one of the reasons why I feel an obligation and a privilege to be able to help support this university through scholarship. Scholarship is a big passion for me because I know that if it had not been there for me, I would not have been able to attend the University of Pittsburgh. And that's why I've been so committed and will continue to be committed. I've told the dean and the folks in institutional advancement that they're going to get money from me until they put me in a box. And when they put me in a box, they're going to get more money from me. And all of that is to support some of the kids that we are privileged to have as our cohort of undergraduates at the University of Pittsburgh. Kudos to Dean Blee and her team for continuing to maintain the level of excellence in the education that we provide to these students. It's not cheap. Kudos to the provost for establishing the Pitt Success Program, which is going to ensure that we're able to draw into the university students who otherwise would not be able to attend, but are able to because we are providing a mechanism for them to attain their college education by providing them the financial support that they need to attain this degree. I am reminded by a couple of things. There's a big debate going on right now about whether or not a college education is worth the investment. As somebody that has benefited from that, I can unequivocally say it has. I am fond of saying that the University of Pittsburgh has educated three of my favorite people. My nephew, who is an Arts and Sciences 10 graduate, my daughter, who is a Social Work 13 graduate, and me. And all three of us have done extremely well. My daughter is pursuing her career. She went on to get a master's degree in public health. That degree from Pitt was a real strong lever for her to get into Boston University's School of Public Health. My nephew works for the UCLA in their institutional advancement. And again, that Pitt degree was a strong credential that got him that position with UCLA. If you have it within your means and your heart to support scholarship, and again, there are lots of different things you can do in the Dietrich School: fellowships, scholarship, you can support research. There are tons of things. For me, it's always been scholarship because I think that's the important first step in all of this. You don't get the opportunity to do fellowships or to do research unless you're able to get in the door and be able to attain that initial access to the Pitt education. And scholarship is critical to that. I'm going to keep my remarks short because I want us to have a dialogue, and I'd like to hear some of the questions. But I have been a supporter of scholarship. I will continue to be a supporter of scholarships and the Dietrich School. I am very, very impressed. And actually, I've said to the dean on a number of occasions, when I look at the credentials of the kids that are coming into the University of Pittsburgh today, I am just so glad I don't have to compete with them because there's no way I could get through the door. These kids are talented. They are pursuing careers and career goals that all of us will be proud to associate ourselves with. They are a very talented cohort. They need our support. Please consider working with the dean and her team in institutional advancement to help make sure that we give some of these kids who may not have a chance, the chance of a lifetime, and that is the chance to attend the University of Pittsburgh. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you so much, Doug. It was very inspirational. So now before opening it to questions, we have one last guest, an important guest. Dietrich Mallet is a junior majoring in biological sciences, and he's joining us today to share his scholarship story. Dietrich?
Thank you, Dean Blee, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Dietrich. I'm a junior studying biology at the Dietrich School, and I'm here to talk to you all about my personal Pitt journey and how the scholarship that I've received from the university has affected my experience here. So I guess I'll start with why I came to Pittsburgh. As a senior in high school, I knew that I wanted to go into something in STEM, specifically science, but I wasn't really sure if it was, I was really juggling medicine and research. Those were the two biggest. And I knew that whatever I chose, Pitt had so many opportunities in both realms, and whichever one I ended up choosing, Pitt would be able to offer me the opportunities and really open up doors for me if I chose to go into medicine or research. And so how the scholarship has specifically helped me out, it, like Dean Blee said, it really provided me the opportunity to branch out and really volunteer in positions that would help me make this life-changing decision about where I wanted to go in the future. For example, I've volunteered now for over a year in research, and really having that scholarship has allowed me to provide my time and energy into different activities that will help me make that decision, and also provide that time without worrying about paying off my college tuition and other things like that, because being a student is really a full-time job, and it really helps to know that with this scholarship that I've been given, it allows me to, it really removes some of that stress. And reflecting on my past 2 years for this event, I've come to realize and appreciate the importance of this scholarship in my personal experience, because in retrospect, many of the amazing opportunities that I've been able to experience have been because of the help I've received directly from the scholarship. Like I said, being a student is a full-time commitment, and the help that I've received from the scholarship has allowed me to engage in extracurriculars while balancing my academics, and that help has truly been astronomical. Other things that I've been able to do with my time allotted from the scholarship have been Blue and Gold Society. That's actually a group of student leaders on campus, and it allows me to give back to the university. And that's actually how I found this event. And when I was informed about it, I thought this was probably one of the best ways for me to really give back to the university in the way that they've given to me with the scholarship. And I guess I'll also talk about my favorite part about being a Pitt student, which is also, it speaks to the experiences that I've had, which also come from the time that I've been given with the scholarship. My favorite part about being a Pitt student is being a part of the Pitt family, and the environment here is just absolutely amazing. I've been to a few football games and a few basketball games, and the traditions here at Pitt, with singing Sweet Caroline at the football games, or tossing the newspaper pieces when we make our first three-pointer in the Oakland Zoo, have really made me feel like I'm at home at Pitt. And part of that has been that with the scholarship I've been given this time to actually experience not only academics and extracurriculars, but also experience what it's like to be a college student. And I think that's really amazing, and a really important part of being a college student and going to college, is experiencing what it's like to be an undergraduate student. So this was basically just a quick summary of my personal Pitt experience, and I want to end by expressing my gratitude to the Dietrich School and to Dean Blee for the opportunity to speak to all of you about my scholarship and how it's changed my college experience in a positive way. And I also want to express my gratitude to all of you alumni for tuning in and learning more about how scholarships truly impact the students here at Pitt. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devish. I really appreciate you taking time away from your studies to come in. That's really, really wonderful. So if you have questions, I think at this point in the pandemic, we're all probably pretty conversant with how Zoom works. So you can send me questions through chat privately or publicly, or for Q&A. So let me start with some questions I received. One is a question of, can I support a student from a specific department with a scholarship, or can I only support scholarships at the school or university level? And the answer is, you have a lot of flexibility. Across our, as I said, 30 departments and multiple programs, we have many scholarship funds where donors can give gifts of all sizes. So if you want to support a student in biological sciences or music or political science, we're likely to already have a scholarship fund set up that you can augment in that department. If you want to support a student whose interests are, for example, cross-cutting. If you want to support students who are doing multiple majors, that's very characteristic of the Dietrich School. Many of our students do multiple majors in very diverse areas. So we have students who are doing physics and German. We have students who are doing chemistry and studio arts. We can find students who match that. Donors who give it at a specific level to establish their own scholarship can name that scholarship and can designate it to be used in a specific way for a specific kind of student or a specific department. So you have a lot of flexibility in thinking about the kind of student that you want to support, or maybe the kind of major you want to support. If you are concerned about, for example, improving healthcare, we have a lot of students who are pre-med students who are in majors that prepare them for medical school and all kinds of health professions. If you're concerned about the future of the arts community, we have multiple departments in the creative arts and in writing. So there's a lot of possibilities depending on your interest. Another question that's been asked is, are scholarships for merit or are scholarships for need? And the answer is both. We have both kinds of scholarships. The university and the school give scholarships to the very top students nationally in an effort to recruit them. These are students for whom we're competing with top universities, often including Ivy League universities, by offering them some merit scholarship to come to Pitt. But we also have a very strong priority at the school level, and this is shared by the provost and the chancellor, to increase the number of need-based scholarships. So these are scholarships that are given to students based on the financial needs of their families. And the reason we want to do that, of course, is because we want to make Pitt and the Pitt education more accessible to students from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Our goal is simply to be able to bring to Pitt the most qualified students regardless of their economic circumstances. And we want to be in a position of never turning down, never closing the door to Pitt to any qualified student because of financial constraints. So how do you give? If you're interested in giving scholarships, how do you do so? So there are many ways to give scholarships. There are many kinds of scholarships you can give, and depending on your interest and the kind of scholarship you're interested in, there are a multitude of giving opportunities. So after this session, a member of our development team will reach out to you to see if you want to learn more and can help you by sharing the next steps for how to give scholarships in a way that you want. And not only a way that you want, in a way that you consider most impactful. So thinking about your own experience at Pitt, thinking about your concerns today, the development team will help you think about how you want to have impact, what kind of a mark you want to have on the next generation. And I want to make one other comment about that. Many students at Pitt receive named scholarships. So these are scholarships that donors have given at a certain level and have named those scholarships, often after a family member. And talking to students who have named scholarships, it's very interesting to hear that, of course, they're very appreciative of the financial support, which makes a big difference to these students, but they're also very appreciative at the thought that somebody they don't know, and who doesn't know them, but somebody whose name they know reached out to support them, that essentially a total stranger cared enough to make a donation that's making a difference in their life. So in many circumstances, holders of named scholarships have the opportunity to correspond with the donors. And sometimes that correspondence continues for a long period of time, and people get to know, if they're interested in getting to know the scholarship recipients, can get to know them and follow them and as their life course develops. So another question is, how expensive is tuition? So tuition right now for a Pennsylvania resident undergraduate is just a little short of $20,000. For somebody coming out of state, a non-Pennsylvania resident, it's a little short of $34,000. If you include the cost of attendance, so that would be books and room and board and so forth, it's about $31,000 for a Pennsylvania resident and about a little over $55,000 for a non-Pennsylvania resident. So that's very expensive. So you might ask, what's Pitt doing to address that? So as I mentioned, tuition has climbed at Pitt and actually at all Pennsylvania institutions because support of the Commonwealth from the Commonwealth has declined quite dramatically over time. So as our tuition has gone up, the university leadership and the chancellor certainly has been very concerned about creating a system in which we maintain accessibility. We are a public university, and we are very committed to the mission of a public university to serve our Commonwealth and to provide education broadly to the public. So last year, as Doug mentioned, the university launched a student success program. One of the components of that is what's called the Pell Match. So as you may remember from your own experience or the experience of others you know, there's a federal program called the Pell Grants that supports students with financial need across the country, and the amount of the grant is pegged to the determination of the financial need of the students. The university has adopted a program that started this year in which we match the Pell Grant dollar for dollar with university funds. And that has been a tremendously important contribution from the university because the Pell Grants are important to students with financial need, but they're insufficient. And as students progress along from first year, sophomore, and junior, they often meet financial challenges that they didn't anticipate and couldn't have anticipated when they first applied to college. So they may have parents who have lost their job or whose income has been reduced. They may come from families that have additional challenges, financial challenges occasioned by health problems or other problems. They may find themselves facing costs in college that they never anticipated. They may want to take advantage of more programs and study abroad than they anticipated, for example. And so the Pell Match program not only allows greater accessibility for students from financially challenged families to come to Pitt, but it also provides that boost that helps students meet the full cost of their education all 4 years. We also have a new program called Panther Forward, in which seniors with financial need can apply for more financial support so they graduate with a lesser burden of student debt. As I'm sure you all know, the question of student debt is a pressing question that is of great national concern. There are stories out there in the press of students graduating with such large debt commitments that it's very difficult for them to get on their feet in their occupations for many years, sometimes decades. So the Panthers Forward program is a Pitt initiative to reduce the overall debt that our students graduate with to a more manageable burden by giving them financial support in their last year, so they don't walk out the door encumbered by a crushing amount of debt. Our students graduate with certainly less debt than you have heard about in the news on average. But still, we would like to have our students graduate with a minimal amount of debt so they can take the job that's their passion, that they can move into additional education if that's what they want to do, without making all of their decisions based on their debt burden. I have another question, which is, can I give a scholarship to a specific type of student? So for example, could I designate a scholarship to a student from a particular underrepresented group on campus? Or, as happened fairly recently, could I donate a scholarship that would be given to a student from a particular area? So I recently talked with a donor who wanted to support students from a set of counties right around the Pittsburgh area. And the answer is yes. So donors who give it a level to establish their own scholarships are able to share a preference around the type of student they want to receive that scholarship. There's also some existing scholarship funds for specific groups of students that donors could give to if they don't want to establish their own scholarship. And our wonderful development team is very well versed in that and can help you give you more information about that if you're interested. So let me, are there any other questions? If there are other questions, please put them in the chat. Otherwise, let me move us to a conclusion by saying how amazing our students are. And even though right now it's a very difficult time to meet our students because you can't walk around on campus, when we are past the pandemic, when it's safe to do so, I really encourage you, if you're in the area or when you come to visit Pittsburgh, to just stop by campus and just stop a student on the street and talk to them. I think nothing explains why scholarship and fellowship support is so important as to actually understand what today's Pitt students are like. They are, as Doug was joking, he's glad he wasn't applying to Pitt now because he'd be competing against such ambitious students. I share that sentiment, as do my faculty colleagues. The students that we are attracting and that come to Pitt, I would say, share two characteristics. One is they are incredibly ambitious. So it's just anymore a student, it's rare to have a student who comes here and says, I want to be a math major and that's what I want to do and nothing else. They come with an incredible breadth of interest. They come with a passion to develop a career trajectory, but also a passion to develop knowledge in an area that they want to continue through their life. They aren't looking forward just at the moment of graduation. They're looking at preparing themselves to understand art or music, to understand theater, as well as to understand and be deeply versed in economics or anthropology or chemistry. They are truly both broad and deep in an incredible way. The second characteristic that they share, and this is why I encourage you to stop them on campus, is that they share, as Devish said, they share a sense of Pitt as a community. These students are generous. If you stop them, they will talk to you. And you will find out that in addition to all their academic interests and their internships and their research opportunities, many of these students are also out in the community. They're volunteering their time for all kinds of nonprofit groups. They are interested in making the world a good place. They're interested in being change makers and contributing to their own profession in a way that benefits others. So they have a good sense of the Pitt community, and they also have an amazing sense of the global community and their place in it. So on that, let me say we've run out of time. So let me thank you again for attending the webinar. For those who didn't have their questions answered, I'll share the questions with our fundraising team from the chat, and they can answer your questions in a follow-up email. Thank you for attending. So your support can transform the lives of our students, and we're truly grateful for your interest. Hail to Pitt, and best wishes to everyone for the holiday season. Thank you.